Did you know? Children's brains grow when cells make new connections. When babies are first born, the only connections their brains have are those that sustain life, but as they grow, they experience new things. Each new experience creates a new connection in the brain, laying neural wiring on which new connections are made. This is how a child's brain grows. What's important to remember, though, is that for young children, the vast majority of their experiences are physical, and most of those physical experiences are motor-based. So in other words, when children aren't moving, their brains aren't growing. They have to move to learn. And when kids don't move, they become weak. Weak kids struggle in school because they do not have the strength in their arms and hands needed to hold a pencil and successfully move it across a page. They gain this strength through physical play when they're climbing, digging, crawling, building forts, and pulling sleds. They do not gain strength in their hands by holding personal smart technology and swiping or tapping. Weak children struggle in school because they do not have the strength to sit comfortably in a chair, at a desk, or in circle time. Children can't multitask, so their brains are consumed with the discomfort of sitting, and their brains are not listening to the teacher for directions. Children gain strength to sit with comfort when they run, jump, and climb. They can't gain this strength sitting with technology. Weak children struggle in school because they do not have the endurance or strength to run. When children run, they get aerobic, and this releases a chemical in their brain that scientists refer to as fertilizer for the brain. That's because it makes their brain cells more receptive to connections with each other. These connections turn on the brain's attention, motivation, and memory. These connections help children noodle out problems and pay attention. Children can only get aerobic when they are running and moving in big physical play. Children cannot get aerobic when they are sitting still with technology. Technology makes children sit upright and still. And when children are upright and still, they cannot hone a focal point with their eyes because they remain focused forward. However, when their heads and eyes move, as in spinning, swinging, sliding, log rolling, and hanging upside down, their eyes and brains have to work together to find exterior points to focus on, points that are still. And these points tell their brains they are moving and not the world. Without a strong focal point, built from lots of physical movement, letters and numbers jump around on the page, making reading and writing extremely difficult to master. To be clear, children build a focal point by spinning, swinging, sliding, and hanging upside down, and children cannot build a focal point by looking at a screen. Technology makes children miss feeling the world around them. That means their brains don't understand force. This sense of force helps them use the weight of their limbs to understand how to move them with control, but it also helps them understand differences in force. When they have internalized an understanding of force on their bodies, then they can transfer that to understanding the difference in force needed to pet a kitten or hold an egg, versus the amount of force needed to use a stick to crack open a piñata. This same understanding of force that they practice in play helps them understand the difference in force needed to squish Play-Doh into a shape versus the force needed to put pencil to paper without breaking the tip. When children don't feel force on their bodies, their brains don't understand what force means. And children learn force by pushing, pulling, climbing, crawling, and jumping. When they are with technology, their brains don't feel pressure on their bodies. What happens? When children don't get enough physical movement, their brains will make their bodies move anyway, and they will typically move when we don't want them to. But they can't help it. They will move at school during circle time, class time, quiet time, and in organized events. All this movement makes it hard to pay attention, hard to process the teacher's directions, and makes school harder than it should be. All this extra moving at inappropriate times is happening because the brain needs information from a child's environment to develop appropriately. Lack of movement means the brain doesn't experience the world, doesn't grow, and in the end, it means children don't learn how to use their bodies for learning and play because their brains don't know what the body is doing or how to control it. Movement in the form of big body physical play is the only way for children to build a foundation on which they can develop the motor movements of writing, the behavior skills of attending, and the cognitive skills of learning. They cannot develop any of this with technology. Technology does not make the brain and the body work together. How, you're wondering? Check out our link below for a great list of ways that children can get more movement into the day. If you're a teacher, we have guidelines for implementation. We can help you reduce behavior incidences significantly. We can help you increase student focus and attention during instruction. We can help you improve handwriting and fine motor skills. We can help you help them build their self-regulation and impulse control. And we can help you create a calmer and happier school classroom and school culture. We can do it all because it's based in brain science. It's extremely logical. It's skills focused. There's not much equipment needed, and it's sustainable. If you want support, we can help. How do we know? We're experts at play. We're Pivot to Play.